A few weekends ago I headed down to Gosport for the Sub Aquatic Steampunk Weekend, which was held in the Submarine Museum down there. It's quite an impressive venue. As you can see, they've got a large submarine directly next to the main building. They've also got a variety of other submersibles and diving suits and just really interesting stuff, so it was quite a good venue for a steampunk event. I was invited to bring some of my pieces down to display for the weekend, so I spent the whole weekend hanging around in the makers area. This is my display, and I'm always quite surprised once I get all this stuff out about how much stuff I've actually got. I suppose I've been churning out maybe 4 or 5 pieces every year, so given that I've been doing this for about 7 or 8 years now, I've actually got quite a lot of stuff. I spent the majority of the weekend working on my Stranger Things sculpture, which you can see here, and I'll be doing a fuller video about this soon. But it's quite nice to actually have an entire weekend to spend on a sculpture. This was also one of the first times I've actually actively tried to trade at an event, so as you can see I've got some of my zombie sculptures for sale here, and I've also made some steampunk goggles. I'll be putting together a small making of video for these as well, as I've been making steampunk goggles for quite a while now, and I've sort of refined my technique over the years, so I thought it might be worth speaking about how I do those. We had loads and loads of people coming through the makers area over the course of the weekend, so it was really nice to be able to share some of my stuff with people. This stuff tends to spend most of its time sitting in boxes in the loft, so it's nice to actually get it out and show people, and people were very appreciative, so I really appreciated that.
Taking influence from Jules Verne and H.G. Wells, the science fiction subculture of steampunk has steadily grown since the 1980s.
My brother's a musician and he does steampunk music, so we started doing some music videos for him. So that we actually had a TV camera crew come through as well, so I actually found myself being interviewed for Solent TV in the end. So here's a bit of that, and if you want to watch the whole video and hear me waffling on and on about steampunk, I'll put the link in the description. But it was very nice of them to take an interest, so you know. I was also joined by a few other makers, and I've mentioned Hair Doctor before. Here's his stand. You can see here he's got his Victorian space helmet on show here, as well as some of his tripods. One of the other makers displaying some pieces was Major Tinker, who's actually responsible for the Asylum, which is the steampunk festival in Lincoln. So you may remember my steampunk mask that I made for the Asylum recently, and one of the other stands in the makers area was Darkbox Photography, who do authentic Victorian photography. So I got talking to them and they asked if they could take a photograph of my mask. So here's the mask being photographed. So it was really interesting learning about the technique and watching them actually add chemicals to the plate, exposing it and developing it all on their stand. So that was just a quick look at the event. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.